Blackbeard vs Shanks is one of the biggest rivalries in One Piece, as Blackbeard was the only person to give Shanks a prominent scar. Even Mihawk, who was the strongest swordsman in the world, couldn't land a scar on Shanks despite being superior in terms of swordsmanship. In this video, I'll be covering their abilities and who would win in a fight between Blackbeard and Shanks. Starting off by Shanks, Shanks' mastery over all three types of Haki, including Ornament, Observation, and Conquerors, with his Conquerors being the most powerful in the verse aside from Joy Boy. His Conquerors was so powerful that he was able to neutralize Admiral Green Bull without even going close. He is the only Yonko without a Devil Fruit, which could give him a massive advantage since Blackbeard cannot swim. Despite not having a lot of screen time, he was a member of the Pirate King Gold Roger's crew, and he did have a ton of experience clashing with Whitebeard's crew. Aside from that, Shanks can use attacks like Kamusari, which send Eustace Kid and his entire crew at the bottom of the sea. Kamusari has insane destructive power since Roger was able to send Kozuki Oden flying. Also, Kozuki Oden was around Yonko level since he almost beat Kaido. Another one of his major feats was stopping Kaido from pulling up to Marineford, and Kaido was stated to be the strongest creature in One Piece. Stopping Kaido's gotta be one of the best feats in One Piece since it took the entirety of Akaza 9 and Luffy to beat Kaido. He also stopped Akainu from taking out Kobe and was not scared to fight Whitebeard, which likely means that Whitebeard and him are relative in strength. He's certainly weaker than Prime Whitebeard, because Whitebeard in his prime was going toe to toe with Gold Roger. Not to mention that he went toe to toe with Mihawk and came out without a scar. These feats easily put him around high Yonko level, which is stronger than Kaido and weaker than Whitebeard. His last major feat was beating Loki, who's the Prince of Elbaf and is likely around Admiral to low Yonko level. Defeating Loki is actually tough since he's the strongest man in Elbaf and has a bounty of over 2.6 billion berries. Also, that every time Shanks appears, he gains a lot of aura compared to Blackbeard. Now that we're done covering Shanks' abilities and feats, let's move on to Blackbeard. So far, Blackbeard's been confirmed to use two types of Haki, which is Ornament and Observation, but there is a high possibility he has Conquerors since he has a strong will, and you need a strong will to have Conquerors. Not to mention that he wants to conquer territories and attain the One Piece, which is sort of a conquer mindset thing. Although he's not a master at using Haki like Shanks, he has two Devil Fruits. His first Devil Fruit is a Yami Yami no Mi, which he attained by taking out his own crew member. The Yami Yami no Mi Devil Fruit is a Logia type, and it gives him the ability to control and turn into darkness. It is a different type of Logia since Luffy hit him with that Haki back in Impel Down. Despite all that, he was able to beat pre-Timeskip Ace, who was the 2nd Division commander for the Whitebeard Pirates. So pre-Timeskip alone, he was like high Yonko commander level. His second Devil Fruit is the Quake Fruit, which in my opinion is the most powerful. The Quake Fruit grants him the ability to make quakes or vibrations, and he took it from Whitebeard, who is the strongest man in the world. Also, we did see Whitebeard tilt the ocean and create massive tsunamis despite being 80 years old and in bad health. It also indicates that Blackbeard would be better at using it since he has better health. Whitebeard was stated to have the capability to destroy the world, and the reason for that is a Quake Fruit. He was nowhere as close to Shanks back in Marineford, but he did attain a Devil Fruit and went on to beat Marco and his entire crew between the time skip. He also had plenty of time to master his Devil Fruits during the time skip. Post time skip, Blackbeard beat Law but almost got soloed by Beppo. He did beat Law, who was around low Admiral level, and Law did very well against Big Mom. At the same time, it wasn't a completely one-sided fight like Shanks vs Kid, but that's the thing about Blackbeard, he always struggles at first but ends up winning. Later on, he beat Boa Hancock and ran away from Rayleigh, but Rayleigh did admit that he couldn't take on Blackbeard, but he fought Kizaru. Not to mention that Kizaru was fighting Gear 5 Luffy on equal terms, so this feat easily puts him around Yonko level. Getting into conclusion, I think Blackbeard's winning this. The thing is, he landed a scar on a Yonko without even having a Devil Fruit. That likely indicates that we haven't seen the true extent of Blackbeard's power. On top of that, if Shanks tries to use Kamusari, he can easily deflect it with the Quake Fruit. Also, people forget that Shanks has been a Yonko for a very long time, and he still has a relative bounty to Blackbeard, who's been a Yonko for 2 years. Shanks has a bounty of around 4 billion and 49 million berries, while Blackbeard has a bounty of around 3.9 billion. This indicates that the world government sees Blackbeard as a bigger threat than Shanks. The only time where I can see Shanks winning is if he uses Kamusari instantly while fighting on ships. That way, Blackbeard's just gonna drown. Shanks does have better speed, but Observation can counter it well. He can also use Darkness as an armor to avoid getting speed blitz. Also, one hit from Shanks is not going to end Blackbeard, but one hit from the Quake can end the fight instantly. Shanks is more human than any other Yonko, and he got his arm torn off by a fish. I doubt he could take a clean hit well. Anyways, I got Blackbeard extreme hot diff.